we have the capacity to sing our way through the day. And it is an instant way of tapping into a meditative state. And it's very ancient technology that is everyone's birthright to sort of reinvigorate and be invited back.
Hi, welcome to Resonate, Conversations and Life Lessons from Rancho La Puerta. I'm your host, Barry. I truly believe that music can touch a person's soul. Music has always played a big part in my life, and it continues to do so here at Rancho La Puerta. In fact, two of our most popular classes, Crystal Bowl Sound Healing and Chanting, use both sound and vibration to create an experience. We offer multiple concerts a week for our guests in various different genres. There's chamber music, there's symphony music, there's classical music, there's jazz, there's folk, there's piano, there's guitar. The list can go on, but there's always a musical experience happening here at the ranch. My guests today are Arnaé Batson and Maggie Wheeler, who travel teaching the power of singing and song and the power of doing it as a group. They believe song can transform people, healing wounds, building community, decreasing loneliness, and actually making the world a better place. Arnaé grew up singing with her family starting at the age of 3, so she says it's in her DNA. Now a Grammy-nominated singer. Joining her is Maggie Wheeler. Now Maggie, you will recognize from television and film. She also does a lot of voiceover work. Her credits are way too many to mention. However, if you watched Friends in the 90s like I did, you'll recognize her as Chandler Bing's girlfriend, Janice. That laugh and that voice can't be forgotten. 18 years ago, she co-founded and directs a community choir in Los Angeles, hoping to bring community, joy, and change with sound and music. They'll be here March 1st. If you want to join us, mention the podcast when you sign up. It's Wisdom Keeper Week. Until next time, this is Barry wishing you health, joy, and a song in your heart. Hey, welcome. I'm talking to Maggie and Arnaé. Welcome to my podcast. Thanks for being here.
So good to be here.
I'm happy to be singing on a podcast today.
That's so awesome. Maggie and Arnaé will be here for our Wisdom Keeper Week at Rancho La Puerta that starts March 1st of this year, and we're very excited, and you'll be musical presenters.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about your musical journey. I know that, Maggie, you are the co-founder and director of the Golden Bridge Community Choir in Hollywood for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
And are you a member of that too, Arnaé?
Yes. Can I be a member?
Yes, you are all of a sudden. You're a member.
Arnaé has been a guest artist many, many times with the Golden Bridge Community Choir. The choir is not in session at this time. We've sort of shifted. Obviously, so many things have shifted and changed in the landscape of our lives post-pandemic. And my beloved sort of choir home, the building that held us for many years, was no longer there for us. So we've all sort of shifted and pivoted. Arnaé and I have known each other for, I don't know, Arnaé, over 40 years or something.
Yeah.
And we travel and teach together. As we will be doing at Rancho La Puerta, we've been hosting and leading singing workshops together for a long time, but especially now in this time. And it's something we deeply, deeply love to do and love to travel and bring to people. And the Golden Bridge Community Choir was at the end of its sort of existence pre-pandemic, had 100 singers, intergenerational, non-auditioned, and Arnaé is absolutely an honorary member and many times got up and soloed and sang and led and, just raised the roof with us. So, yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget the trapeze.
Oh, that's true.
There are aerial dancers. I mean, there's so much that you can get. There was a children's group of the members of the choir could bring their children, and they ended up singing. And it's just a beautiful family-filled, joy-filled time together.
This is probably one of the only choirs I'd be able to get
into because
That's
it's
right.
non-auditioned,
Yeah.
That's
right?
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I started it in LA at that time, and I don't know if we can say the same now, but at that time it was the only non-auditioned choir in Los Angeles. And somebody came and wrote about us. She had been looking for opportunities and she thought she had found something. And she went and did sort of a summer drop-in. And she said at the end of the summer, the choir director said that he hoped people would self-select. And I just, it was injurious to her. It was injurious to me just to hear it. It's not what we do. What Arnaé and I do is we open the doors and everybody is welcome at the table. We want everybody's voices. We want all the people who have been told they can't or shouldn't or won't or,
Yes.
all of that.
Yes.
We are just taking that, out of the process of singing with other human beings.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like a metaphor for the world that we are hoping could exist.
Well,
Yeah.
we bring it into existence when we speak it, when we think it, and certainly when we sing it. When we're all together, lifting our voices, breathing together, our hearts are pumping at the same time. The blood is feeling all the good energy from the words that are coming through. We build community that way.
Right.
And so I like when we're in spaces where people don't even know each other. They come in, they're feeling the day. What's that song, Maggie? Y'all wouldn't believe my day. They come in like that. And yeah, we have to do that. We got to do that, right? We have to do that.
That's Bernice.
Okay, yes. Oh, we'll talk about her too. But they'll come in and, unsure of what's going to happen. And we do what we do, and they leave saying, when can we do this again? When can we do it again? So you absolutely need to be sitting in our sessions. You need to be
Well,
there.
something that's super important, and we're finding out more and more that loneliness is so terrible for us, and people need to belong to community.
Yeah.
And community can be built in different ways. And it sounds like you guys are building a community with song, music, and being together and sharing your voices.
We do that. And I think one of the beautiful things about singing in community is that it has a kind of magical bypass. It creates a sort of immediate intimacy. It creates interdependence on one another. Somebody has something you're not quite sure. You get to lean into that person. That person gets to feel a certain sense of purposefulness and a little bit of leadership. And out of that, we lift each other. And then there's just the kind of the magic, the medicine of what happens when human beings are singing together and creating harmony that sort of bypasses the intellect, and suddenly you've dropped into your own spirit in a different way without having to think about it, without having to practice too hard, without having to say, I need to sit like this for multiple days. There's a beautiful kind of instantaneous transformation that, we love to provide and we also benefit from.
You speak like it's a form of meditation, which it is. When you get out of your brain and you can listen to what's going on in your heart, to me, that's the power of meditation. So
That's the thing, getting out of your head, because one of the things we really stress is no judgment of the people around you, and absolutely no judgment of yourself. Many folks have issues with the sound of their voices. I'm of the mindset that we probably all grew up singing, I know I did, I'm in the bathroom making bubbles, woo-doo, you're walking down the street, you're just creating a song. And at some point, somewhere in their lives, there will be a comment from someone, well-meaning or not, oh, that's not how that goes, or oh, you don't sound like Whitney singing that song. You shouldn't do that, and that sticks, that holds, that hurts, and people remember that, and they lose the joy of just freely opening and using their voices and singing, and even sometimes talking. They just shut down. So I've experienced it personally. So being able to come through it and then to be able to share that it's still there. You still got it. You still got it, boo. You still got it.
I think another kind of facet of that we like to sort of recreate in these gatherings is that our culture has already separated us. Arnaé's talking about our history and our environment, and that has already sort of put a layer of judgment. And then our culture has separated us into two groups. You are the performer and you are the spectator. And you don't get to
Right.
do this unless you do it at this level or you sound like this. This is what a singer is. This is what a song is. And that is not how we work and not how we walk in the world. You know, we want to invite everybody back into this very ancient cultural practice of singing in community and also the utilization of song throughout life, throughout as like to go back to what Arnaé was talking about when you're little and you're making up a song because you're playing with bubbles. You know, we have the capacity to do that. We have the capacity to sing our way through the day, and it is an instant way of kind of tapping into a meditative state, and it is a way of getting you through from one point to another. And it's very ancient technology that is everyone's birthright to sort of, you know, reinvigorate and be back, be invited back.
It sounds like, Arnaé, you started early in the bathtub. Like, I was in the bathtub, but I was making bubbles a different way. So
Bubbles nonetheless, though. Bubbles,
bubbles
nonetheless. You know,
it was
Bubbles
a different
united.
voice.
Bubbles
But,
united.
have you always been in music? And then I'm going to ask Maggie the same question. And what was the interest in music and how it's become such an integral part of your lives?
Yes, I was absolutely born into it. I'm deeply rooted in the Black church. My grandmother was my primary caregiver, and she was one of those who, again, whatever she's doing, if she's cooking, she's singing or humming. If she's ironing, she's humming. If she's, you know, I remember snapping peas with her, sitting at her knees, probably like 2, 3 years old. And what she's humming, I'm humming. And my family was already involved in music, playing instruments. You know, many of my uncles are jazz musicians. And so and we had a piano in our house. So that was part of our job. You know, you wake up, you do what you got to do, you go to school, do your chores, you take your piano lessons, and then you sing. That was a part of it. So they allowed me to join the group when I was 3. And it was something that was just, I guess I kind of thought everybody did it until I realized everybody didn't do it. But being in church, you know, on Sundays and Wednesdays and maybe some, you know, other weekdays, we had to be a part of something that was going on. And music was just so easy. So, you know, coming up, singing through the children's choir, to the youth choir, and then to the later, the young adults choir, bringing all that music in, having to learn it, having to rehearse every day. Our uncle was our musical director. And in my family, we did this hierarchical thing. And I was the youngest. So everybody got their parts first. Everybody, you know, I was the last one to eat, last one to get to the bathroom, you know,
Right,
last one to get my music part. And so I'm listening. I have to listen through the other singers so they get their part. And so I'm listening and I'm learning their part. And I'm getting it like just like that. So it was incredible ear training. And it's just the most natural thing for me to do. It's the most natural thing for me to do.
Yeah, it's in your DNA, it sounds like.
It's all up in my cellular, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, and if a lot of what we do when we're young, you know, we carry on. I'm learning, you know, from my daughter who's a therapist who tells me all the time. But if what I did when I was young created who I am now, I'd probably be a janitor because I spent a lot of time cleaning the bathroom and doing dishes. But yeah.
But there's honor. There's honor to that. There's
for
honor
sure,
to that. There were members of our church who, you know, they would come to church with the suits and ties and, you know, the hats and just like clean pressed, but they were janitors in their regular life.
Yeah.
And the idea was be excellent. Just be excellent with whatever you are, and then find the joy in it. Find the joy. There was a moment where I did lose the joy, and it was Maggie Wheeler who said, "Arnaé, you gotta sing. You gotta sing." So I have give you so much credit, Maggie, for helping me remember what I just always had.
You use 2 words that I love. I love the word remember because we all have things in us that we just need someone to remind us of.
Yes.
And the word joy is my favorite word on the planet because joy is not happiness. It's a way of being in your body. And orange means joy to me. And I paint this nail orange so that it reminds me every time I look at it that life is about joy. That's
Well,
all it's about.
Arnaé and I are very fond of orange, and chances are we'll have some orange clothing with us when we come through.
For sure.
Okay. So, Maggie, how about your musical journey? Because I know that you're an actress. How does the music come into there?
I was fortunate at a very young age. I have a summer birthday. And so the summer I turned 8, I went from 7 to 8. My parents sent me, grew up in New York City. My parents sent me to a summer camp in Vermont called Kill Elite. It still exists. And it was created by Pete Seeger's brother, John, and his wife, Ellie. So all the counselors were folk musicians. Off the ping pong room, or in the ping pong room, there were guitars and dulcimers and banjos and instruments hanging on the wall, and you could go and sign up and take lessons. And we sang around the campfire, and it was there that I really found my happiness, my soul, my peace, was sitting around that campfire and learning all those songs, which of course still live in me today. And when I was too old to be there anymore, I took my guitar and my banjo home, and I went to another camp, a theater camp, because I also had an early interest in performing. And there I was unhappy and I was lonely. And one night I wandered out alone, which I wasn't supposed to do, out of the cabin. And I sort of wandered out into this field, and off in the distance, I heard a song being sung that I knew from camp. That's a song called Deep Blue Sea. Deep blue sea, baby, deep blue sea. And I heard it off in the distance in the field, and I just walked toward it. It felt like this crazy mystical moment. And there, sitting on a blanket in the dark, were 3 counselors, one of whom had been a former camper at Kill Elite. And I sat with them, and, that was just the beginning of the universe saying, follow this, follow the music, that it will lead you. And I developed a really early interest in gospel music, in African music, and that led me to the music of Sweet Honey in the Rock. And that led me to the first Arts Week at the Omega Institute in upstate New York, where a friend of mine was going to be hired there to teach interpretive sign language, and asked me to come and sit in her class so that she would have a familiar face. I did that, and the following year, Dr. Isai Maria Barnwell, who sang bass for Sweet Honey for years and years, was in the catalog teaching Black choral and congregational singing. And I went to that. That was her first workshop that she ever taught. I was there with 60 other people, very well attended, and Arnaé Batson was sitting right next to me on the rug, on the floor. And that is how we met. We met singing, and she is the person, she says that I am the person who helped her to remember. She is the person who said to me at the end of that week, you better sing. You better keep singing. And I went to New York, and I had been listening to that music, and I had grown up at Kill Elite singing in harmony and singing those songs. And now I had stepped into this music, the vibration of which felt like such a healing experience for me. I also will say, Isai Barnwell is a phenomenal teacher, and she showed me in that room for the first time in my life what it was to be a teacher, what it means to be a teacher, to step into a space, to show people what's possible, to lift everybody far beyond what they think they can do in this beautiful, magical, unencumbered way. And that changed my life, absolutely changed my life. So I went to New York. There were a bunch of people who wanted to sing. We got together. I knew all the parts. I started leading. I walked right backwards into it. Out of that, we developed an a cappella group called Sons and Daughters. Isai mentored us. She would come to New York to visit her parents in Queens, and she would work with us. And then my acting career brought me to LA. And I had to leave that musical family that I had developed in New York, and I was sort of bereft. I was at that point dating my future husband, Daniel Wheeler, who's a visual artist, and he said, maybe you should teach. And I thought, oh my God, I don't know, but I knew I wanted to sing, and I wanted to be with people. And he said he thought his gallerist would give me a space. So this is now 35 years ago. I started doing that once a month in Los Angeles for quite a long time. At that point, Arnaé was still living in New York. And that eventually led to me going back to sing with Dr. Barnwell at Hollyhock in Canada when my kids were 10 and 6. I needed a mommy break. And I went there, and I met all these incredible people from Canada. And I was invited to this community choir leadership training in Victoria. And I thought, well, I'm not really going to start a choir. Just the word choir makes me uncomfortable. It's not me, but I'll go and do this thing because it feels a little scary. And maybe at that point in my life, I thought I really need to do something to shake it up. So I went and I met these beautiful people. And while I was there, I had an opportunity to stop and envision. They set up a kind of a container where we could do a little bit of sort of vision work about what our choir would look like. And I had young children, and I knew many things. It would be non-auditioned. It would be intergenerational. I would have an arts corner, and I would buy materials and have projects for kids so their parents could come. And that, and right before I left, I met Emil Hassan Dyer, who was my co-director for many years. And together we built that. I had already been teaching for 15 years before that, so I had people just waiting. So the choir was like, add water. We've got everybody. They've all been waiting. And so, yeah, that's what happened. And it's been an absolute beacon in my life. It turned out that the campfire that I was looking for, I ended up igniting and recreating. And I became the place where people came to gather with me. But, it has enriched my life and given me purpose, and having Arnaé as a traveling partner, teaching partner, the way that our lives have come full circle, it's magic.
I'm Karma from LA, and this is my second time at the ranch.
I'm Janet from Petaluma, and this is my third visit.
This is our first visit together, though, and we met here about 2.5 years ago, and we kind of came here in sort of similar paths. We both were just looking for a getaway, but also something exciting and engaging, and we'd come across the ranch, and it seemed like the perfect thing. But we were both female solo travelers, and I don't know, we kind of took a chance. Yeah. For me, I remember it was a thing like, this had been on my radar and had been on my radar for a couple of years. I Googled best spa getaways, best wellness getaways in America, and Rancho La Puerta was always on the list. But I wasn't sure honestly, if it was a place for me. Like, would I be the youngest person there? Would I be the only Black person there? So I just went out on a limb, and I came. It was my birthday. It was the first night. Yeah. And I was like, okay, fine. If no one talks to me, I'll just have a wonderful silent retreat doing all this stuff. That lasted all of 20 seconds. Everyone, from the time we got on the bus, everyone's like, hey, where you from? What you doing? Want to sit by me? And then everyone heard it's my birthday. It's Karma's birthday.
Everyone sang to you.
I got to dinner, and I was seated at a table.
Yep, I had showed up to dinner, and I was like, I'm by myself. I'm eating alone. Like, I don't know. I didn't even know how it worked. And they said, do you want to join a group? And I thought, yeah, I'll join a group. And we sat across from each other. Our rooms were right by each other. We hit it off right away. Yeah. And you were living in Sacramento at the time. I live in Petaluma, so not that far.
So we kind of just kept it going. And what I loved about it is, even though we were instant friends, we were also friends with everyone all week. But we just felt like we wanted to keep it going, come together. Yep. We met up for wine tasting.
We went wine tasting in Sonoma afterwards.
When I moved to LA, Janet visited.
Yeah, we just went to a Korean spa together.
Yeah, we've been coming up at this. We just really wanted a getaway. We looked at other places. We even researched, but we were like, let's go back to the ranch. Like, it's a happy place. It's our happy place. Yeah. So it's really fun being back together. We're roomies this time.
Yeah. Already strategizing about our next trip. And it's cool because we do some of the same things together, and you can meet up, but you don't have to do all the same things.
We don't do the same things.
No. I'm like all of the water classes. I want to do Watsu. You're I'm doing the cardio classes. Yeah, she does the hard hike. I do the easiest hike.
Yeah, very true. But we do the sound healing together.
We do the sound healing together every day. That is true.
We will lullaby and sound bliss together.
Yep. And then we go to bed at 8:30 and just chat. It's been fun. I came back this summer, and then this is the first time we've been back together, and I know we'll be back again.
We will.
To ranch friends.
I hope you're enjoying today's podcast as much as I am. To learn more about our wonderful presenters and exciting weeks coming up at the ranch, go to rancholapuerta.com and check out our events calendar. Make sure to mention the podcast when making your reservation to take advantage of a special offer. Some restrictions may apply. Is there a point that you think it was not just music anymore, it was something bigger and greater, and it meant more?
I think I knew that in the years that I was doing it once a month, but I was a little bit shy or a lot shy. I kind of didn't want anybody to know I was doing it. I mean, this is pre-email and all the rest. So I was just calling people on the phone and writing their names down on a yellow pad, but it was a little under the radar. And then when I made the decision to start the choir, I felt like, oh, like, can I really ask people to commit to something? Can I ask people to pay for a series? And like, I don't want to have to be anywhere every week. That I don't even know if that fits me. But it was that consistency that showed me the answer to what you're asking, that it was more. And it was almost, it was clear almost instantaneously, because when people come and tell you, what it means to them and how it's changing their life and how it's taking them out of isolation and all the rest, and you have that experience of that kind of, the ecstasy. It's like a chemical. It's ecstatic. It's an ecstatic experience to sing with other people, and then it carries you for days.
Yeah. Well, it's clear you both have a passion for it.
For sure. Maggie introduced me to that community in Canada. Let me tell you, those people up there, they're singing. They are singing a lot. They're singing in a cappella ensembles. They're singing in folk ensembles. They're singing in 2 and 3 different choirs at the same time. I'm like, like, wow, they're committed. They're committed to using their voices in that way. And, I spent many, many years, singing in DC and in New York. I was trying to get signed and, blow up in the music business. And it was through this work that I understood that there's a different vibration when singing and songwriting to teach people how to heal themselves with their voices, because that was what I had to go back and relearn. That's where I had to go find my joy of singing. I went for years without singing because, didn't have the deal, so I must not be good. And it was in, deep conversations with Maggie, pouring my heart out, and she's saying, Arnaé, you can do this. And so she would invite me to guest lead with Golden Bridge Choir. And honestly, it took me years to really understand what was happening. Like, what's really going on in the room? When Isaiah invited me all those many years ago to go with her to Omega, she just said, Arnaé, come sing with me. Okay, cool. And what I provided was the through line. So when you're teaching a song, somebody has to hold the lane. So somebody got to lead the train.
Yeah, it's beauty of working with a partner.
Yes, it really helps. And so I was leading that train so that she had the opportunity to teach other people. And I was in it, I was feeling it, but I still, was thinking music was about, the deal. Music was about, the stages and, the traveling and all, and it is about that. We have found a way to have that be a major part of what this is. But I had to fight through a lot of my insecurities to find my voice. But I think that, your gifts are going to find their way back to the surface. You hide them, they'll find their way back. They're going to fight their way back. Right. And, just the added bonus of being in service, using that gift in service to other people who perhaps are experiencing the same type of vocal trauma that, that I experienced, helping again to pull people out of their heads, find their sense of joy through their voices, feeling their body, the source energy, all of that occurs. All of it occurs in a space. And all you have to do is be there and be willing.
Right. So I know I personally believe that art and music actually do touch the soul. And there is art therapy. It sounds a little bit like what you guys do is music therapy. Or it could be considered that a little bit, because you had said how it helps you, almost face your demons and your insecurities and find a way out. So
there is something therapeutic about it. Many people will say that, and that they experience all kinds of things because it allows, it opens the door to joy. It opens the door for sorrow and grief. It allows you to move emotions through your body in this way that is, it's so warm. When you're in a safe group of people and you're creating this together, people cry, people laugh, people lighten their load, without having to work for it because the song does it. The song
Right.
carries it through. The song tells you where to go, shows you how to open the door. And there's something really, yes, beautiful and profoundly therapeutic about that. And many people have said that through the process of our workshops that they've taken and the singing that they've done, that they have, as Arnaé mentioned really early on about the speaking voice, that people have found their courage because it is a vulnerable thing to do for many to sing,
Right.
or maybe for all of us to sing. But then there is this incredible fire of courage that kind of takes over as the song begins to grow. And then you're like, oh my gosh, look what we're doing. This is amazing. Like,
Right.
this is us. We just made that out of nothing, out of air. These,
Right.
this beautiful group of people comes together and creates this beautiful vibration. It affects us. It affects the environment we're in. It affects the cosmos. It has power.
Yeah, yeah. Think about the lyrics. Song that just came to mind. You know this one, Maggie. I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much so you can start loving me. Imagine singing that, just going around and round, having that come in your body, through your mind, through your soul. And then you look around and somebody's saying that to you. They're singing it to you. And oftentimes we have people moving around through the group. So everyone can just have a little eye contact with maybe somebody else who might be sitting on that other side. Or, you might feel like, they might need a little extra today. And so we surround them with sound, surround them with love. Ooh, okay. Right. You're taking me there right now, just thinking about it.
You said something that it made me think of another thing I wanted to talk about is it's just not the voice, but it's vibration. It's the vibration. Because I know that here at the ranch, about 10 years ago, we introduced crystal bowl sound healing. And it's not just the sound that the bowl is making, it's the vibration. And, if you think about it, we're all vibration, right? It's all just vibration. So with your voice, you create vibration. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And with the chord and harmony. And, as Arnaé was saying, when Izai taught that first workshop and she invited Arnaé to come, just the way my friend Susan had invited me to come the year before, when you have two voices, when you have somebody there, you immediately you show that vibration, you create it. We do, the two of us together. As we begin to teach a song, if I start singing a melody, Arnaé will sing the harmony, and our participants already, before they have sung a note, they are hearing it, they are feeling it. They're like, "Ooh, that's where we're going. That's what's possible. That's what we're going to make." And then we're adding more to that, and we're adding more layers to that. And yes, to create that crystal bowl, multi-part harmonic vibratory ecstasy, that's what we do. That's what we hope to do. That's the goal.
Yeah. Maggie talked about the old traditions that are being resurrected, coming back together and singing. I'm so glad you mentioned sound baths and the sound bowls, because what you feel and you hear is the resonance that is deep within. And it shakes some of that, at least for me, it shakes that depression off. It shakes that anxiety. And when you focus on that with a crew of people that are willing to do the same, it's just absolutely magical. It's in your blood. It's in your bones. It gets deep in. It goes deep. It goes deep. And there's healing. There's healing. Even if we're singing the song about artichokes. Maggie.
Oh, about cauliflower?
Cauliflower. Yes. The song. Yeah.
If cauliflower could somehow become pizza, you, my dear, can do anything or be anything. Yeah, that's our friend Carly's song. It has many verses, but yeah, even if you're singing about cauliflower.
Yes.
I also think that there's something safe about singing with a group of people. It's such a different experience than just being out there on your own, like being a performer, because I do stand up sometimes. Just being out there on your own in front of people, you have no one else. You don't have that support where you feel like you're all part of the same energy and the same flow when you're in a group singing or doing an activity.
I think it should be said on that topic, we never point to a person and say, can we hear can we hear that? Can we hear you? No. None of that people have suffered through or that people associate with singing in a group, that does not happen.
Right.
I mean, we might review something with a section, but there is no pulling out of an individual and saying, let's hear you alone. That just
Yeah.
does not happen. That is not what we're trying
That's
to create.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now tell me, how did you hear about Rancho La Puerta, and how is it that you two are going to be here in a month?
So I received a message from Sarah Olivia. She reached out and asked me if I would love to do this. And of course I said yes. And dear friends of ours have come before us. Kate Munger, my friend David Wilcox, who I was
Oh,
speaking to
okay.
the other day, said he has been many times. I said I would like to bring Arnaé. We work together. We do this together. Yes, the answer was immediately yes. Sarah Olivia is a huge fan of Sweet Honey in the Rock. Arnaé sang with Sweet Honey in the Rock for a period of time. And so anyway, it was all of those elements that just came together, and we're very excited. I've never been. I've heard so much about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here 25 years, so there's something about it I really do like. So
I guess so. I reached out to get our sort of schedule for what we're doing during the week, and we have three workshops during the week during the day. We have an evening presentation as well, so it's going to be a really nice way to bring what we do.
No, and it's a great week. I love. There's so many amazing speakers. Oh, I mean, always here. It's. I have to say, it's a magical place. That's how people. But you can't describe it. It's a feeling. It's not. It's not something you can describe. Now, about 50% of our guests still watch this on YouTube, and 50% listen. So if they're watching on YouTube, Maggie, they might recognize you because you have quite the acting career. You've been in film and television, and you've done lots of voiceover. And I think, I mean, I think everyone knows you as Janice from
Yes, they
Friends.
do. That is how most people know me, as Janice from Friends.
I mean, me and my friends, we constantly are saying, "Oh my God," constantly. So, I mean, you're a household name, but you literally, I was looking, there's so many, you have done so much. It's insane. I don't know how you have time to sing, to be honest.
Well, the singing has kept me sane, really, because what an acting career looks like on paper is not what it looks like in real life. There are long deserts of time between this job and that job. So I'm very fortunate. If you put it all together in a list, it looks like I work all the time. But certainly I had time I've raised my children. By the way, I have one of my daughters is also a therapist.
So you get a lot of free advice too, constantly?
Yes, I do. But anyway, I have raised two daughters, and I have been very fortunate to have this wonderful career as an actor, and my singing has has just been my sole work throughout.
Now, are you still acting? Are you still doing
Yes,
things?
I'm still acting. As a matter of fact, I'm very excited that on Monday I get to go to a cast and crew screening for the movie of Dogman, animated movie of Dogman, directed by my friend Peter Hastings. I have a small voice role in that, so that's exciting. And the acting jobs are fewer and farther between. I try never to think about it.
Right. Yeah.
I live my life. I throw my creativity into the things that matter to me. I self-published a children's book last year. I've got a sequel to that book that I'm working on now. So my artistic life has many tributaries.
Well, no, it sounds like you're super grounded, and it sounds like music has helped you to stay that way, right? So,
Without a doubt. And as I carried, and Arnaé did as well, as I carried that work into the virtual world when the pandemic began, I kept the choir alive online and did virtual concerts and made virtual videos, and we all taught ourselves how to, do things we never knew how to do. And then I created a separate event called Together in Song that was open to the world, and 4,000 people from all over the world came to join us for those years. And I brought in singers and fellow singers and song leaders every weekend. Arnaé was there many, many times as my guest leader and was right by my side throughout all that. So I've been so blessed to have this mission and this ability to keep doing this work even as the world changes. And right now, today, this day that we are gathered here talking, California is on fire in all these places, and our world is on fire.
Yes.
And last night I joined progressive activist folk singer Betsy Rose on a Zoom call, a kind of people's inauguration sort of Zoom call. We sang last night with a group of people who gathered. We just continue to do this because we need it, and we need it more than ever.
Yeah, we certainly do. And I'm kind of I have mixed feelings about the social media and being online, but it does, like you mentioned, you had 4,000 people. It brings people all over the world together. And if we could just do that with meaningful causes,
Yeah.
and that's what you're doing. And I think that's wonderful.
Thank
Yes.
you. And Arnaé has been doing it too in amazing ways. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I was
been very
I was
special.
using the we as all of you, both
Oh,
of
yes,
you.
we have all.
We received that. We received that. During the shutdown, people are resilient and they wanted to figure out how do we connect with each other. And Zoom was this godsend
I
of
know.
everybody could be in a space and you could at least see each other in the Brady Bunch squares. Sometimes I'll call it the Hollywood squares.
Yeah,
But you get to see and to feel, and Maggie's Together in Song was just a wonderful way to ground myself. I mean, I knew when Saturdays were happening. Like, I had to make a schedule for myself every day because, like, what's happening on Monday? What's happening on Tuesday? We were just, we were so isolated. And, I live solo. And so every Saturday that was in my calendar, I know I'm going to Together in Song. And Maggie's right. We did have to pivot to bring our music and our singing. And, it was a way I had to earn my living, by singing online. And I'm fortunate that is still occurring now. So I still have jobs that, out in the world where, especially on Sundays, I'm singing in different places across the country. Like this coming Sunday, I'll be singing in New York in the morning. I'm singing online in Los Angeles, and then I'm actually going out to a church to sing. And then there's another event for the displaced people with the fires. So it's going on. It's a constant thing. On Monday, we celebrate Martin Luther King's Day of Service holiday. And so I had a large group of people come into a church setting, and I taught songs. I taught songs, and people were there and they felt uplifted. And
Right.
we were singing the music of one of my great mentors, Dr. Bernice Johnson Regan. We had slides, we had, guest singers, we had, my 13-year-old student was there, singing
Right.
to these large audiences. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful event. People want to sing. People want to sing. People want to sing.
I won't tell you about my traumatic experiences with singing, but I will tell you that music is so important to me that I became a DJ in high school, and I had my own nightclub in the 20s because I think that music and dance is soulful and it fills the soul and it brings joy to people. So I'm so excited to have you guys here. I look forward to coming to your classes and learning and singing and being part of your community. And thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to us.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
for
just a
having me.
reminder, if you're watching, they will be here on March 1st for Wisdom Keeper Week. And come to the ranch and see them, see me. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
My
so
pleasure.
much.
Today's podcast reminded me that singing and song can heal and transform lives. When people come together with a common purpose, miraculous things can happen. Arnaé and Maggie use words like community, healing, transformation, and one of my favorite words, joy. Today's podcast reminded me of something that happened to me in high school. During my senior year, our swing choir was invited to perform at Disneyland. Growing up in New Mexico, I had always wanted to go to California, so I tried out for the swing choir. Lucky for me, I could dance, and not very many of the guys could dance. So I made the team. Turns out I was supposed to stand by the guy who had the best voice and see if I could hear the notes. If not, I was to lip sync. And I lip sync really well. And I joined contests later in life lip syncing, but I felt like I could never sing. So I'm really excited to go to Arnaé and Maggie's classes when they're here and their workshops and see if I can sing and blend. Enough time has passed. At least I'll be part of that community. They'll be here March 1st on Wisdom Keeper Week. If you want to come and learn to sing, mention the podcast when you make your reservation and you'll get a discount. Until next time, this is Barry. Wishing you health, daily joy, and song in your heart.